Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I promised you I was going to go on a jazz tour tonight. Early in the day, we were out by Lake Champlain. Now I'm here with one of the top players in Vermont, or in fact in the world, Ray Vega.
I've been here for a minute.
Fantastic,
fantastic
horn player. And I first ran into Ray I think once at Smalls, and then my own dad told me about him up at UVM.
Yeah.
And
going back not only years ago, yes.
Going back a while.
Back a minute. Yes, indeed.
I first came to Vermont in 2014.
Okay,
and
all right.
I needed to finish some of my graduate school credits at Rutgers University.
Right.
Louis Porter hooked me up.
Yes, we did a Latin bass thing, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
And now, in terms of your time up here, the stories that I heard, you came up here and you played a gig. You liked it so much, they kind of invited you.
You know what it was? No, you know what happened? I was starting around 2003. I started to come up as an artist in resident for a jazz camp that was based at the Flint Theater. And so the guy that was running the camp itself was the head of the jazz area at UVM, and a position they saw how I worked with kids as an educator, and then a position opened up several years later, and I interviewed for the position in the beginning of 2008, and then I came up with my family in July 1st of 2008, and this past July 1st is 14 years that we're in Vermont. It's been great. I still get out, I still travel, but I focus mostly during the school year. I teach my load at the University of Vermont, 3 ensembles, trumpet students. In the fall, it's jazz history. In the spring, it's jazz improvisation, introduction to jazz improvisation for people that are just learning how to improvise. It's not an advanced class, but it's very involved. So we do that, and then I still play gigs in the area. But in the summer, I go around. Like for instance, this week I'm playing at the Hartford Jazz Festival with Chembo Corneille's Quintet, and so we'll be doing that. I'm going to New York tomorrow morning to rehearse with them. And then Friday we'll drive up to Hartford and do the gig there. And I stay busy enough. There's a lot of stuff happening in this area. I've got 2 groups. I got a quartet, and which was just playing now, and I have a sextet, and which focuses on Latin jazz and a little bit more urban sounding stuff. But I've been staying busy, and we have a good arts community here. And as I get older, traveling becomes less and less of a thing that I really like doing. So, but I got some stuff coming up. I did another East-West Trumpet Summit recording with Thomas Marriott. It should be coming out in the spring of next year, and that's a great recording. It includes Roy McCurdy, the great Roy McCurdy on drums. Spent many years with Nancy Wilson as well as with Cannonball Adderley, and Orrin Evans is playing piano on it. So we recorded in Seattle, and we're going to eventually release that in the I think the fall of 23. And so, but so doing that and just trying to stay on top of stuff, just trying to create art and create music, and be around creative people. I miss New York.
But
there we go.
We got a car. You can hear that.
But in New York is. I was there for 47 years. I was born and raised there. So a change of venue. I mean, you look at Lake Champlain. It's pretty beautiful.
Yeah, it's a beautiful.
I'm a kid from the South Bronx. I'm from the projects.
I mean, you're a great example for musicians on my channel to kind of some of the message that I've been preaching. Living outside of New York, but still being able to travel.
And just the whole thing. My whole thing is this: Philadelphia has its vibe. They got a jazz sound in Philadelphia. Detroit has a jazz sound. Everybody wants to go someplace but maybe New York, or they want to go to LA, to a big city. And what I tell the students is, man, if you're from Dayton, Ohio, go back and raise the level of the jazz scene and create a vibe and a scene in that urban area. Always have a thing of looking to do some other work that can maybe expand your thing. But with the internet now, people can you don't have to live in New York City to do these things.
Yep.
So but I really think it's important for people to create the Baltimore sound, or be part of the Baltimore sound, the Washington DC sound, Atlantic City. Atlantic City had a thing going on for many, many years. Philadelphia is a vibrant jazz community, and that's why you've got cats that are living in Philly that are not leaving. There's no reason for them. Oren lives in Philly.
Yeah, Oren Evans.
Oren Evans
we did
lives in
interview
Philly.
him on this
You
channel.
know, so I mean, you don't have to live in New York right now. And then, you know, because I tell a lot of my students, you go to New York, you know, get ready to be a barista. Get ready to do a whole lot of different things, and be ready to be living. If you're a guy, you're gonna be renting a room with 5-6 other homies, and you're all gonna be there cramped up, and it's gonna be a struggle. And unless you got parents that are gonna pay your rent, I'm just talking reality. I mean, I'm from the hood, so my parents didn't have any kind of money to say, oh, well, we're gonna pay your rent. So I had to deal with my own thing. So if you got money, you could do the romantic jazz thing, but it's not a reality for. It wasn't reality for me.
Definitely not. And
you know, you got
it's hard work.
It's hard work, and to create a, you know, but I think to create a scene in your own community is vital. You know, we can't always be expecting, you know, Witten's my boy. You know, Witten's my boy, but we can't always be expecting. Oh well, Jazz League Center's coming up, and now we're gonna celebrate jazz. And I love Witten, and I love when they come through town. But what I tell people is that's awesome, but we need to nurture our own community. And that's what I do also. Look, between my job at school, I also do a jazz radio show on Friday nights at Vermont. It's now called Vermont Public because it's associated with Vermont PBS.
In fact, that's a big, you know, for cats who are watching, if you're talking about public radio, Ray Vega is the guy on jazz, Friday Night Jazz in Vermont.
Fun. And you can find it online. You can just go to vermontpublic.org. We do a Friday night show.
And that's syndicated. I mean, you're reaching Massachusetts, you're reaching New York, you're reaching Canada.
Well, if you go live, if you go online, you can catch it from Australia. And then the show gets played every single day at 4 a.m., 12 noon, and 8 p.m. But I take my position at the radio station, you know, I take it serious because of the reality of it. I'm not thinking like, oh, I'm a musician. At that point, I'm thinking about, okay, I want to turn people on to jazz. So I'll mix it up, and I will mix it up. I'll play something by Weather Report, and then I'll play some Art Blakey, then I'll play some of the young artists that are coming up, you know, Theo Croker, Oren Evans, you know what I'm talking about, you know, Warren Wolf. I'll mix it up with all these great young musicians, but I mix Duke Ellington in there. I put Machito in there, and the Afro-Cubans, Tito Puente, and I put, you know, my roots are in Latin music. My parents are Puerto Rican. I'm from New York, so a lot of the music that I'm involved with was Latin jazz. So I play some of that because I don't think Latin jazz should be in a fringe category. It has to be in jazz like everything else.
Oh yeah,
because it's part of the language.
We certainly appreciate everything that you bring here to Vermont. Like, you know, I always learn something when I've got that radio turned on, whether or not like I'm purposefully turning it on or I'm coming back from something else.
Exactly,
He's there. You know, that's an institution of jazz. Like, I remember Christmas Eve, I was driving to Massachusetts.
Oh, I got my Christmas show going.
You know, Ray Vega's got his music on the radio.
Yeah, man.
Now, just before we finish up, because you got to get back to your gig.
I got to get back to work, yes, sir.
We talked about at UVM how, you know, I made a discovery, but you probably already knew about it, how there used to be a big band venue in Mallett's Bay where
we talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about like Duke Ellington and
that's crazy because I think a lot of the cats that were at those events are no longer with us.
Yep.
So it's hard to do the research. That kind of stuff is, there's somebody showing up. That kind of stuff is starting to get, people are starting to talk about it online right now, about what happened, et cetera, et cetera. Now, it's just an interesting thing. I had the great grandniece of Big Spiderpig contact me, and she happens to live in Winooski.
Wow.
Okay, because that's some wild stuff. So there's always some kind of history. The music is part of history, and so you're always going to get somebody in the community saying, I remember when this happened here. Somebody came to my office and told me about Janis Joplin playing at UVM, Sly and the Family. Now I'm talking about another music, but that's my time, you know. When I'm talking about Janis Joplin and Sly and the Family Stone and all that, you know. So that era, they were here. You know, and they came to talk to me about it, but then I hear about, there was a place in downtown Burlington called Hunt's. Art Blakey came through there, Woody Shaw, the Brecker Brothers, Pat Metheny, and now it's a comedy club. So, you know, things happen, but I gotta get in there. Or they gonna
get in. thanks for doing this.
Thank you, bro. Love you. God bless,
you know,
man.
Ray, maybe we'll stream a little bit of a show or something.
Right on. Thank
All
you,
right.
everybody. Give likes to this
Give
guy.
likes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
See you
bro.
in a bit.
Thank you, brother.